Okay, podcast starts now. What's up, everyone out there in the world? You are listening to not one unemployed person, but two unemployed people on a podcast
Spoiler
today.
alert. I've actually come up with a new term for what I am, and it's fun employed.
Oh my
I just
God.
coined that term.
You're so smart and you're already seeing the silver lining of your situation.
Yeah, it's crazy because no one has. I sort of came up with a very sort of like all of a sudden it came to me, and I thought it's crazy that no one has said this before. And so yes, I have sold it as a book, and it's going to be called The Rules of Fun Employment. And yeah, I got a pretty big advance, so things are actually going pretty well.
That's amazing. That's just such an important lesson. Like anyone listening, like it's just always important to remember that when God closes a door, he opens a window. And that's what my book is called. And that's,
Yeah.
I just sold that and the advance is huge.
And your book is called When God Closes the Door, He Opens a Window. Mine is called The Rules of Fun Employment. I want to clarify, mine doesn't have like a snappy subtitle or anything else. It's just called The Rules of Fun Employment.
And I guess I want to clarify, mine has when God closes the door, the he is capitalized, all caps.
Mm-hmm. And it's a Christian book. Just to be clear.
It's very religious.
People would think that your book was like a sort of book of humorous essays about, being unemployed and about being a millennial in Brooklyn. No, it's actually like a very religious, devoutly Catholic book.
Yeah, it's pretty much about how your body's like a vessel for Christ and sort of all the good that can come from that.
Mm-hmm.
But like really hilariously.
Yeah, and you really promote chastity. It's interestingly, it's actually very LGBTQ inclusive, but anti-sex.
Well, it's sex negative, but across all gender and sexuality spectrums.
And you recognize all genders, all sexualities, but you say, now that we've recognized them, put an end to it.
I see you, and I don't want to see you any longer. So George, tell us about your big day.
Yeah, so we are recording on Wednesday, February 1st. And mere hours ago, I woke up in my little bed. In fact, I'll kind of come out and say it. I woke up a little late today. My work, I start work at 8:30, and I woke up at like 8:15. I was truly like rushing to brush my teeth. It wasn't one of those days when I woke up early and was fully dressed at my desk by 8:30. I was rushing a little bit, and I was sort of trying to assign some morning stories. The last thing I typed was, who wants to do Tom Brady retiring? And then I got a Slack notification from my boss, Leah. And she said, everyone get on this Zoom right now. I have something to tell you. And it turned out that with zero warning, our parent company, Bustle Digital Group, shout out, shut down Gawker.com, had not told anyone else. Like, it's also when Leah found out, it's not, nothing was being kept from me from anyone in my orbit. And so the site was completely shut down. We immediately lost access to our email and Slack and everything. We weren't even able to write, like a goodbye post. It would have been nice to write a post that like thanked the readers for reading over the last 2 years, or even just something silly where each of us said something, or even just something that Leah wrote as the editor-in-chief that was like a note from the editor, like in any normal publication you would do. So we had that Zoom that was just sort of to warn us. And then at like 9:15 a.m., we had a Zoom with the actual people who fired us. And then it was fully over. And then I had a meeting with the HR person where they like explained severance and how benefits will end and all that stuff. And then that was literally it.
Wow. How do you feel?
I mean, I guess it's an interesting feeling because, none of us are naive, and we all know what the internet is like now versus what it was in 2007 or 2010 or 2014. We all know that the parent company of Gawker was like known for making these sudden decisions, known for launching sites and then, shutting them down 6 months later, very fickle. If you Google Bustle Digital Group, you'll see many stories like this. So I don't think any of us are sort of blindsided that something like this could possibly happen. And in many ways, the digital media industry is sort of like a series of short-term positions where people know on some level that this is how it's going to end. I think I am under some sort of non-disparagement clause until I officially leave, so I don't want to say anything about anyone specific.
Honey, you broke the clause.
Yeah. Well, but I don't want to say anything about anyone specifically. I will say two things. I will say legitimately all the writers and editors I work with were like so funny and smart, and the biggest shame is that the people in charge couldn't just create an environment where they could thrive and do their best work without being frustrated.
Yeah.
And even when we were doing sort of writing about topics that under different hands would maybe be, overdone or silly, I actually think everyone at Gawker elevated. Like, it could be like a post about some celebrity breakup, but I genuinely would laugh out loud reading it. Whereas if I read it on, Us Weekly, I probably wouldn't laugh out loud,
Yeah.
So I'll say that. And then the only other thing I want to say is, again, I'm not allowed to disparage anyone, but I will say I believe in religious freedom. And in my religious beliefs, I think everyone at Bustle Digital Group is
Well, that is a beautiful sentiment.
Thank
you. I'm glad that this is our most religious intro yet.
Yeah. And all of this stems from a religious point of view. Both you and I are driven by the fact that we know Jesus is truth. We know that he capital He is the reason we are podcasters, comedians, and even former television writers and editors.
Yeah, I mean, if any listeners are like, yeah, it's weird that they I kind of have whiplash from they went from really irreverent to really religious. Well, just know that that's the higher ups over at StraightioLab Incorporated.
Exactly.
The StraightioLab Media Group, it's not us, it's not our direct boss, but the boss above them is,
and I want to say,
is telling us to be religious now.
And yes, the StraightioLab Media Group is technically owned by the Catholic Church, but they have complete editorial freedom. And we've been told that over and over again. So every time we say something that is perceived as blasphemous, we are called into the Pope's office and he physically hurts us. And then says, but just to clarify, for legal purposes, you have complete editorial freedom.
Okay, I want to say, first of all, sorry you got fired.
Thank you.
Sorry to all of Gawker. I enjoyed new Gawker. I want to say it's beautiful. I think that the children have their own Gawker to lose. I think that's amazing. It makes me feel young again. And I... Oh, and it's also very okay, this is an almost basic to even non-thought. So Succession, you know what I mean?
I know.
It's literally so Succession.
Well, it's very
You're living it, baby.
I mean, it's not just that. It's it's funny to see these things happen over and over again. And the reason that storyline existed on Succession is because that has happened so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it's to see it, it's very, you know what it feels like? It feels very first as tragedy, then as farce. Whereas everyone that I met with on Zoom today. Anyway, we don't have to talk about it anymore, but really the top line, if you hear nothing else, is just genuinely, I am so grateful to have met everyone I work with there. And it is maybe in fact, 100% the best work environment I've ever been a part of. The best, it is the only place I've ever worked where I liked every single person, which is insanely rare. But the good news is none of us are dead and we're getting drinks tonight.
Woo! With the HR lady.
With the HR lady, yeah. She's like, hey guys, thought I'd join.
I'm so sorry. I hate
guys,
doing
that was crazy earlier, but I'm cool.
And then she's still splitsies.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys have cash?
She's like, wait, I don't have cash.
Oh, the place is cash only. Fuck. Okay, I think
right, we need to bring in our guest.
We need to bring our guest in.
And I want to apologize to him in advance for having to sort of silently sit down while I talk about being fired. Anyway, please welcome Jake Cornell.
Hello.
Jake, hello.
Hey, Jake. How's it going?
I'm pretty revved up from hearing what happened to George, I have to say. Because
it's sort of crazy.
I mean, here's the thing. It's not shocking for this media group to have treated you this way, as a media employee or frankly as a gay man.
Yes.
But
Say that.
to do that to you as a Christian is so shocking. To treat a fellow Christian
Yeah.
in such a vexing way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want to say, this company, if you look at their other websites, I don't see Jesus there. I don't see Christian content.
Oh, no. And I was looking. I had 15 minutes while you guys talked to look, and I checked every single one.
Yeah. I see sin. I see heathens. I see premarital sex being celebrated.
Yes, I see curse words.
Curse words on headlines.
On headlines. I mean, Bustle Media is, well, not only are they're not just not religious, they are hateful towards the Christian people. And that's just what's going on.
And I'm also in a non-disparagement clause with them, and I'll say this. They've chapped my ass with this one. And I think and I'll say this with George, every single one of them should rot in hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
And those are not my words. Listen, I'm just very happy that we are part of StraightioLab Media Group. I think they have treated us very kindly. Pope Francis in particular has been
super nice. So nice behind closed doors.
He's so great.
And they're really good at little things. They'll send us a Christmas gift, and it'll be like a branded water bottle, but it'll have like our initials on it. And other people wouldn't do that. They would just send the branded water bottle.
Yeah, and says yours from the Catholic Church.
From the Catholic Church.
And it's like not a it's like
it doesn't take much effort, but it means
exactly.
So much.
And it's sort of like I get to like show it to my boyfriend. I get to be like, look, oh my God, look, and he's like, that's so cool. Like I love the Catholic Church. It's like just kind of cool.
Yeah. That's so sweet. You know what? I've lost one job, but I have recommitted to another. And that is my position as an employee full-time of the Catholic Church. See you at the Vatican.
Woo!
So anyway, Jake, what's up?
I am Gorge. I'm sitting here on my couch. I'm honored to be here. I'm happy to be here. I'm feeling good, I have to say.
Oh.
And I want to say, obviously this is a difficult day for me and by extension for Sam since he's an empath.
Yeah.
And we are so lucky to be with truly family. Like the worst thing possible for tonight was if our guest was like a random celebrity whose PR had emailed us to be on the show.
Wait, this is a good game. Who would be the worst guest to have right at this moment?
Okay, it would have to be someone who... Okay, Whitney Cummings.
Yes.
That's actually my final answer. And I say that, and I actually don't have anything negative to say about Whitney Cummings, truly. But I do think she would be the worst possible guest for me right now in my current psychological state to speak to.
Well, I actually signed a non-disparagement agreement with Whitney Cummings, so I will just say that she is queen. I would love to have her on. She is mother.
I genuinely would not mind. I would actually love to have her on at a later date. Just could not handle it tonight.
Sure. That checks out. That really checks out. Well, it was also okay, and sorry to talk a little bit more about it. But it was also kind of like we've seen these firings happen on Twitter all the time where it'll be like, okay, and now all of BuzzFeed doesn't exist and everyone's like tweeting about it. And I have to be completely honest with you. It was a little exciting to be in on it.
This was also my first, oh my God, I know someone. And
I was like, that's my fucking friend.
That's my friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm being fired essentially. And I was like, I'm the star of today, sort of.
Yeah, totally. People texting you like, I hope George is okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's really not. He's really not.
It's so powerful for Sam though, because Sam's the friend that gets the text. Do you know what I mean? It's like
totally.
Sam. Oh my God. And it was, I got the text, and not only did I get the text came pretty early.
Sam's like the HR woman. Like he put on his blazer. He was like, okay, now it's my turn.
And I woke up and I was awake for it, and I was on the train, and I was like, so two things were happening where it's like I got to respond to a text at like 8:40, which rules because it proves to people that I was awake.
Powerful.
Totally.
And also I got to be like, okay, like really put on your reacting hat. Like, remember, like you're reacting, like you have to be like empathetic, and you can't immediately be like, awesome, like let's get lunch next week. You first have to be like, oh no, like fuck, and then you can kind of feel it out, and then you can propose like lunch next week.
And then you can propose lunch next week. Yeah, I mean,
I also, George, I'm gonna start spreading. I have a conspiracy theory.
uh-oh.
Don't you think it's a little weird that you took all of last week off and then
I
got
know.
fired this week?
It's actually
Wow.
Well, not just that I take last week off, but like I legitimately, I've been feeling sure. I didn't take any time off during the holidays. I've been feeling a little overwhelmed with other projects and work and whatever. And I sort of took a week off, as I told Sam, to regroup. That was how I was branding it. I wasn't like making any big decisions or anything, but I was like, you know what? I need a week to just sort of like think to myself, catch up on some writing stuff, you know, non-Gawker writing stuff, whatever. And then I really came back into work on Monday being like, all right, like I'm refreshed, like let's like get back to work. And then did not last 48 hours.
That's great. I mean, you really
God
did it
said
right.
we're gonna, and your Christian God said we're gonna regroup for you. In a
Exactly. Well, I think, you know, I think it was because of the week I was gone, the site changed so much that they were like, we have to shut it down.
Wow.
God.
Jake, have you ever been very publicly fired from anything?
No, I was in the only the only thing that comes to mind is that in the 7th or 8th grade, I was in a production of Grease, and halfway through rehearsals, I was given a smaller role than the role I had been initially cast in.
You got recast?
I was recast
Oh my God.
from one of the T-Birds to Eugene, who's like the school nerd who only has like one song at the beginning of the musical, I think.
Wow.
That's-
And I remember I was devastated, broken.
I'm sure.
I mean, that is way worse.
And it wasn't done. I wouldn't say it was necessarily done publicly, except in the sense that, like, obviously I'd been rehearsing for one role, and then we came in, and it was like, this is not Jake's role anymore. But it was like at the end of a rehearsal, everyone was like, okay, great work, everyone. And Jake, can you hang back for a little bit? And then I had to hang back.
When that happens and you feel it happening and sort of coming in slow motion, I mean, it's like your significant other saying we need to talk or something. Like when
Exactly. It was exactly
like the truly, like, because all of this happened within truly from beginning to end 20 minutes. And when I think of those 20 minutes, they feel like they lasted 4 hours.
Absolutely.
Sam, have you been fired?
Yeah, I've been fired, but not publicly. Like, and it was sort of like it was always like it was clear the job was going to go away because the job was fake. Like, I had a job that was like Googling like effects of soda and like writing up like a bibliography basically every morning for like a PR team. And it was like genuinely the best job I ever had.
What?
I love your job being Googling side effects of soda every morning.
Because it was like I would have to like, if a new article came out, I have to like write up a little summary
On
and
soda?
Yeah. And so it was like the job was from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and I did it from home. This was like a decade ago. And it was amazing because I would wake up at 4 a.m., do this job, go back to bed at 8, and then like I would wake up at like noon or 1 and forget I had worked. You know, it would be like erased because I went to sleep again after it.
That feels very Severance.
It was very Severance.
No, because it is Severance.
That is literally the plot of Severance. Sam, were you a consultant on this TV show Severance?
Honey, I wish. And then, yeah, they called me one day and they were like, yeah, like, I think we're not going to have that job anymore. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I was literally a human Google alert. Like, you can just set up a thing for that. So
Yeah.
I didn't do that anymore.
Well, now with AI and Chat GBT or whatever it's called, that job's gone.
It's gone. It was evil though, because they would like Coca-Cola PR, they would literally send like dietitians to like local news stations and have them do like the perfect summer meal, and it would be like, and top it off with a Diet Coke, like which in like a small, it's actually like really gives you a boost of energy and is like really good for you. And it was like, it's not good for you. Like, what are you talking about? You don't have to say it's like bad for you, even though it is, but you don't have to say it's good for you. Like, calm down. It was crazy.
I've been thinking a lot about that with like PR, like about like this discourse about like what is good for you and what is bad for you, like in moderation, because it's like there's so much like falsity that you just kind of then like stop believing anything.
Yeah, I fully just think all food is bad.
And I was thinking, well, you just start to be like, well, anything could be bad for you and anything could be good for you. And maybe that like there's no sort of scope of like what is actually truly bad for you. And I realized like I was thinking that today while I was, look at me smoking a cigarette. And I was like, no, this one you know is bad. Like you need to like a divorce.
I have to say my grandmother, who is still kicking and still smoking, one time when I was young, told my father, I think, that she thought, bless her heart, that the campaign against smoking was partially funded by drug cartels because they wanted you to do harder drugs rather than smoking nicotine.
Legend, QAnon
and
legend.
To that I say, she is mother.
She's mother, and look at what that belief did to her. She's still here.
She's still here,
and she's actually doing so well
because she doesn't do hard drugs because she
doesn't
smokes
do
cigarettes.
cocaine, sweetie. Okay.
You're getting addicted to something.
There was like a news story. I remember watching a news story like at some point when I was very young, like in the 90s, and it was like an old man that they were interviewing on the news, and they were talking about his like health habits, and he was like, I had 3 martinis at lunch every day while I worked until I retired at 55, and I smoked cigarettes, and he's 95.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't know why he's still alive, and I was like, nothing matters. Like I'm doing everything. I truly like I took it as I cite him weekly.
I love stories like that because it's truly like right, that's what statistics is. It's like 90% of people who do that don't live to be 90, and then that 10% does.
But they're not here to tell me about that.
That's right. No,
I don't.
It's a self-selecting group.
It's insane.
It's insane. Jake, the thing I cite is an episode of Grey's Anatomy where this woman like who didn't smoke at all, and she was like really like good to her body, but she got lung cancer, and she was like, I've been so good my whole life, and now I have lung cancer. I should have been being bad. And I think about that and I treat that as a real story, and sort of was like, well, you got to be bad because you know you might be good your whole life and also get lung cancer.
Shonda's influence.
Well, that happened to Kathy Griffin.
What happened to Kathy Griffin?
I think she had lung. I mean, she
did
good now, but I think she literally had lung cancer, and she famously has never, like, she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke.
Wow,
It's kind of a sober icon, honestly. Talk about someone I would like to have on the podcast, even if I was just fired.
wow.
Kathy feels like she would have also had somehow, like, I bet you if Kathy had been on, she would have known every single Busted Media Group's name.
Yes.
And like a story about them. She would have had gossip on everyone.
She has actually shared new Gawker links before, and I always, I don't know, it's always kind of cool when someone you respect does that.
That is cool.
But,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I know she's thinking about us today, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll retweet this.
Yeah, she's donating to the Severance.
That's huge. I love that it's donation based.
To Sam's show Severance or to your Severance?
Both. Yeah, she's going to make a donation to each of us.
Yeah, because I got to get...
They're crowdfunding season 2 of
That's
Severance.
right. They're crowdfunding season 2 of Severance, and it's somehow tied to Bustle Digital Group.
Yeah, Sam's version.
Yeah, Sam's version. And you know they're going to cancel it after 3 episodes.
Should we do our first segment?
Yeah, let's do our first segment.
Why the hell not?
Yeah. Sam, do you want to...
So Jake, our first segment is called Straight Shooters, and in it we gauge your familiarity with and complicity in straight culture by asking you a series of rapid fire questions that's basically this thing or this other thing. The only rule is you can't ask any follow-up questions. Are you ready to play?
Yeah, I'm ready.
George, will you kick us off?
I would be delighted to. The Gerber baby or Kaya Gerber Nepo baby?
The Gerber baby.
Okay. Wesley Snipes or Machine Gun Kelly?
Wesley Snipes.
Jordan Firstman or Adam the First Man?
Adam the First Man.
Faking your own death or making your own meth?
Faking your own death.
Okay. Chicken piccata, a Swiss chard frittata, Hakuna Matata, Jesus' stigmata, or Kristen Milioti?
Whoa, that is a journey.
I have to make the people upstairs happy and say Jesus Christ, stigmata.
Smart.
I know that you guys need that.
Okay, Beach Boys or Cheetah Girls?
Cheetah Girls.
Okay. I can feel it coming in the air tonight, or I can feel you coming. No, not there. All right.
Oh.
I can feel it, you coming. No, not there. All right.
You are
Sam, did I not
bad.
tell you I thought of the single best straight shooter I've ever thought of? I texted Sam and I was like, when you hear this, you're gonna fucking gag, bitch.
Oh, I love it. I love a nasty little one. Okay, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the 20-something Brooklynites of HBO's Girls?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow. I have to say, those were some of our best ones.
Yeah, we really put in the work today.
You know, I'll say this because I was not able to write or edit all day today. I really put all my I put my entire edit
bodes well
into,
for the podcast.
into these straight shooters.
Wow.
Well, Jake, I say 10, 10, 10s across the board.
Yeah, 1001 doves.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm an honor to perform.
Period.
Yeah.
Pelly,
Pelly.
as we say in
Pelly.
our culture.
Pelly was let me just say this.
Yeah.
I know we there's only so much Pelly that can be talked about.
No.
per episode,
We
but I
actually
just,
I was thinking we have not said it enough since the episode where it was
So
introduced.
I just want to say that what George was talking about, or not George, Sam was talking about earlier about the Gawker being the Gawker layoff and being I'm seeing this online and I have proximity to it being your first experience of that. Pellygate and the StraightioLab Pelly episode and having been at the party where Pelly dropped was one of the most intense experiences of my life. I just have to say that.
No,
I was there, I witnessed it, I saw it happen.
Did it make you feel erased from the narrative?
No, because I don't feel any sort of, because even when I'll say this. I actually had experienced a lot of personal growth with Pelly, where I was at the party and I was seeing it happening, and I was like, this is a beautiful moment of art and culture, and I'm not a part of it, and I don't see myself as a part of it. I have I'll say Pelly here and there when it feels right. It's not mine. It's never going to be mine, and I don't want it to be mine. I'm purely an audience to this, and I am honored to be an audience to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I saw Pelly drop, I was like, this is so correct. Do you know what I mean?
It feels very like being there at Studio 54, being there at Andy Warhol's factory. To be at the party where Pelly dropped is something you are going to tell your grandkids, where it's New York used to have grit.
Yeah.
We'd make up words.
We'd make up words. We'd eat some latkes.
Wow. What a powerful moment.
Wow.
And we'd soak up, it was huge.
So, wait, I do want to say there's something so specific, and I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this, about hearing something or listening something that is about an experience you have had. It's almost like when on a TV show, something is filmed in your neighborhood and you're like, I know that block, I know that coffee shop. There's something very, uncanny valley is not the right word for it, but to see your own life mediated through another lens feels very strange. Thoughts?
I find it complicated because sometimes I do find myself being one, I think this is the big issue with gay media is that everyone.
Sam was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Where everyone's that's not me. That's not my experience. And it's I've been gay and that's not how I did it. And it's kind of yeah, well, there's a lot of different ways of being gay, I think, is what we're finding out.
Totally.
And not one thing is going to be the thing. But at the same time, you are wanting to be it's so close to the real thing that you're just tweak it like this and that'll be right. But sorry, Jake, what were you going to say?
No, I would say there's also a fear response to the realization that your unique existence is not as unique as you think. And
yes.
And being if my POV as an artist that I'm going to show out to the world because of this unique life experience that I have, and then when someone else does it, I think that what we say is oh, they're not doing a good job. This isn't right. But the truth of the matter is you're freaking out that someone is telling the story that you thought was yours to tell.
Yeah. Wait, This is also, I'm now realizing uncanny valley is actually the perfect term for it, because it's almost it is close enough to it's representational uncanny valley. It is close enough to your experience, but one decimal point away, such that seeing it makes you become violent. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, like it has like that the fear response that like is triggered. Absolutely.
Yes, which is why it's almost like the sort of narcissism of small differences. It's like, I remember when HBO's Crashing, which was about stand-up comedy, came out. I was like, no, take it away. No. But it's like, yeah, it's because it was close enough to the experience of, you know, being a stand-up comedian that I was like, it feels dirty to see this.
Yeah.
I guess that wasn't the only reason. But
okay,
whatever.
wait. This is an interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been seeing like whispers of reassessing looking. And how do you feel about that?
Well, I just want to say one thing, you know, not to make it about me, but
You were in
yeah,
SF.
I was living in San Francisco when Looking came out.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
That's
and
amazing.
I'll actually just let that sit with both of you before we continue.
So that must have been really hard for you.
It was, well, I was living in San Francisco. However, I was right out of college. I think I was 2 years out of college. I was like 22, 23. So it was almost like, the representational politics of it aside, I didn't yet have access to the kinds of like community parties, you know, even just like
Totally.
sexually, I wasn't as liberated yet. You know, like it felt like, oh, is this all happening without me? And I'm sort of like an underemployed 22-year-old, like living with literally 7 roommates at the time.
Wow, that's a lot of roommates.
Yeah, but you do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I think part of it is also like when Looking came out, it was like very much like, all right, gays, here's the HBO show. Like that, there was an energy of that it's like, which like, and so then everyone was like mapping it on to be like, I think we thought at the time like, this is defining what the monoculture of gayness in America is going to be, is like what's shown on Looking, which is just like a psycho internet brain 2000 whatever, what year was it, 13
Something
that
like
it
that.
came out, like thing. Whereas like now if Looking came out, it would just be like another show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I mean, you have to hope it would be another show.
I do also, God, this is like, I in no way want to venture into this in earnest with anyone listening to this. Do not at me, as they say. And
Wow.
remember, I just got fired, so I am very vulnerable. But I will say the sort of narrative that Looking is like a show about like rich gays or something is just quite literally not true. Like I mean, it was a show that had like storylines about like, you know, there were people of different income levels. There was body diversity. There was like there were actually like interesting storylines about HIV and things like it wasn't the gay version of Girls where it was like 4 guys who went to, you know, Emerson and then moved to San Francisco.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with going to Emerson.
No, if you went to Emerson, we see you, we hear you, and we support you. The backlash of that was confusing. I like, honestly, it was so strong that I'm like, I don't even know if I was viewing it. Like I couldn't see it without being like, okay, well, as a bad show, is there anything to enjoy here?
Totally.
That's actually it, Sam, because I actually remember stopping watching the show. Like I didn't finish it because I think you just couldn't watch it. You had to like analyze it, if that makes sense. Like you were constantly assessing like, what's the take? Do I like this? Do I not like this? Is this bad? Is this good? Like in this way that just like you couldn't consume it as a show.
It's interesting. I'm sort of like, has that gotten better or worse? Well, I guess the raw material has gotten worse and that TV is terrible now. But then has the arguing around it, I guess it's like just a different version of the same shit. I don't know.
Well, like
Am I dumb? Has there been a show since Looking that's just like about gay guys?
Oh, I don't
in the
even
city?
mean gay things specifically. I mean, well, there has. I mean, there was like the Queer as Folk reboot. There was like,
right.
You know, there's been like, I mean, Transparent is a show about queer characters.
I count
you know.
Bros in the discourse of this.
Sure. I mean, I guess
Absolutely.
I mean, ultimately, the solution is just to not participate in it and just go and watch a movie and watch a TV show.
Sure.
Yeah. Ultimately, if the choice is always going to be to not engage in discourse for me, do you know, that's going to be the better choice more often than not.
Yeah.
And in that spirit, let's move on to our topic.
Let's start our discourse. Jake, tell us what you brought to us today.
So the topic of straight culture I wanted to discuss today is fast casual dining.
Wow.
Which, when you said that, I had such a strong reaction. I was so excited. What about it feels straight to you?
So just to like paint the picture of sort of how we got here, I was standing in line at a Sweetgreen when I got the email, you book StraightioLab. And I sort of thought, oh shit, what's my topic going to be? And then sort of immediately it was like, it's this. Like, it is this. Like, I'm like, because it's like you look at where you're at in terms of a fast casual dining place in like the thick of Manhattan. And it's sort of like it is dining and food robbed of all culture and community with then false replacements of those injected back in. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. That's incredibly well put.
I mean, they're soulless places. They certainly are. They're like inherently tied to like suburbs, and they're inherently tied to corporate jobs and like taking your little lunch break and like being above cheap but below real restaurant.
Yeah. I also do just have to say, for context, I love them. Like, this isn't me hating them. I love them.
What would you say? Well, God, it's so what you said about the fact that like the joy is taken out and then artificially put back in is exactly what is wrong with them.
It's like, I think like, it's like you come to like, if you go to like someone's house for dinner, if you go to like a restaurant, like there is like a group quality to it. Even if you go to a restaurant alone, you are like, there's an interaction between you and like your server, and even in theory, like the chef and the sommelier and the person who designed the cocktail list. Like there's some sort of, and there's like the dining together of like, we're all in this experience of this restaurant together. And like the fast casual is like highlighting the individualization of like, you are the chef, customize your dish. You are eating, you pay, there's no communal check. You are paying alone. You can sit at a table, like you sit at your own table. And if you sit in a communal space, God forbid you speak to another person. Like, yeah, it is like very much anti like communal existence. It is about complete like individuation. And like within corporate America.
Yeah.
Wow. This is complicated. I appreciate you saying that you like them, because I also love a fucking fast casual experience, and it is like one of the more shameful parts of myself is I will like
what though?
I will seek out a Chipotle. Like I will do my best to get into a Chipotle. And I feel whenever I'm there, I get like the same rush out of a Chipotle that I get out of like entering a Target, where I'm like, suddenly I'm like in touch with me 10 years ago, and I'm in touch with my childhood, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel me at all times.
You know, those moments where you like zoom out of yourself and realize what you've just said? Like me in May 2020 saying out loud in my apartment, I think the thing I miss most is Chipotle. Like that. A thing I said out loud.
Oh my God.
I have to say, I'm a sort of a dig in girl.
Well, you've always had higher standards.
Can I tell you something, George, that my roommate said about dig in that chilled me to the bone? He was like, once you realize it's about dig in, it is so profoundly shocking. It's upscale rebranded leftovers.
Wow. Yeah.
You sort of come in and it's like, hey, here are all these foods.
So right. You are so right.
That were prepared yesterday, that are like very much like, you can eat them kind of cold, kind of warm, nothing's hot. Microwave it if you want, that's fun. But like,
no, you're so right. And it's like, you sort of convince yourself. It's like how people say like, oh, I can make a meal out of these appetizers. You sort of convince yourself like, oh my God, actually what I've always wanted is like carrots with one flavor profile and broccoli with another flavor profile on top of quinoa with like a slab of tofu on top. Yeah. Like, of course, thank God I finally found it.
Absolutely. And I think like in terms of the safest, like the least devoid of like, or like the most like separated from like the cynicism of fast casual are the salad places. I do feel the salad places have the least darkness to them. And I think that's because salads have no culture. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, you know what?
Salads also, it is girls and gays in a way that like is inherent, unfortunately.
But also the worst straights, like the health conscious straight man, the like fitness finance bro.
Yeah, a scary type of straight.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, okay. So Chipotle, we love. Dig In, I like, but now have sort of had my mind blown by this revelation that is that it's repurposed leftovers. Sweetgreen is something that at first I was okay with, and then I just had the sudden realization that it all tastes the same and that it's all just like, I'm almost like, did they make this in a lab and this just looks like kale and this looks like romaine, but they're both made of the same material?
Beyond kale.
Like truly, yeah. And then of course there's the fury that comes with when they ask you if you want bread and then they give you half a slice of bread.
Okay.
See, I love that. When they give me half a slice of bread, I'm like, thank you. You know, like
no, you have to demand more.
Are you in the Sweetgreen saying, full slice? Is that you?
You know what? I wish I was. I'm not because because I'm like, no, the Sweetgreen has set the rules. Who am I to reject them? But I always envy people. Well, again, it all goes back to this problem with frankly capitalism, where if only I could be rude to the CEO, I would.
Mm-hmm.
But the human connection I have with the worker prevents me from ever sending back food, complaining, speaking rudely, because I'm like, this is not your fault. If only I could just press a button and talk to the CEO and then literally like slap them across the face so I could get it out of my system without subjecting this poor underpaid laborer to the whims of my moods.
You said something I found really interesting about that, which is Sweetgreen makes the rules, which I think for all fast casual, the thing about it is that it's like there's an illusion of choice within it in a way that is
yes,
so insane.
Well, yeah. But then sometimes there's not enough. Like, have you ever gone to a kava? And then they're like, okay, design it. And I'm like, can you be the chef here?
Yes.
Like, I don't
know.
What are you talking about?
That is
There's like 6
crazy.
proteins and 22 sauces. Like, give me a dish, babe. Like, I need a
yes.
Like, take me to Mogador.
Oh my God.
What are we doing?
This is why I hate buffet dining as well. I know this is but it's like, no, a food professional should give me 3 choices.
Absolutely.
I am a comedian.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, okay. I also had the most harrowing. Okay, so another issue with all of this is that it has become digitized and algorithmatized.
No, okay.
recently.
So this is, I will lose my mind.
This
So I
is
wanna
dark.
say
This is
one
literally
thing,
the
which is-
suburbs. Yeah.
Yes.
Just keep going.
So I went to a fast casual place close to my apartment. I honestly would call them out if I remembered the name, but I don't. I walk in, and this is like, I generally, because I work from home, pride myself in usually making lunch truly like 90% of the time. But this one time, I didn't have groceries, whatever. I was like, you know what? I would love something sort of healthy. Went to this salad place, think Sweetgreen, think kava, think Dig In.
Tender greens,
And and don't get me started on tender greens. The promise of something better than Sweetgreen, but then it's actually not.
No, we can't tangent because I have so much to say about the digitizing that
Yeah,
you need
keep
to
going,
get
keep
off.
going.
So
we need to stay on this
so
vein. I have so
walk
much to say.
I walk in. There are only oversized iPads. There are no people there, and there are only oversized iPads. I'm like, you know what? Okay.
No.
I normally would turn around and leave and actually bring everyone with me and start a strike and actually start a labor union, not for the workers, for the customers of this establishment. But I was so hungry that I was like, you know what? I'm going to just try, whatever. I'll just do it. I walk up to the fucking iPad. I have to make an account.
No.
No, you don't.
No.
And then I walked out. Like when
No,
I found out that
OSHA.
I have to make an account where I give my email address to get one salad one day in my life, I was like, that's where I draw the line.
That is psychotic.
That's actually some of the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life, and I have to tell you that. This is my thing. Is like I actually think like my customized like American Horror Story version of hell that was like curated for me is like me standing in line waiting to be served at like a Sweetgreen, and the employees can't serve me because they are fulfilling these like hell orders from these like corporate cogs who are going to come in, pick up their to-go and leave.
Yep.
And it's like, no, I am here for the human experience. Like suddenly I'm like defending the fast casual dining experience of like, I came here as a human to make a salad with another human. Like I hate saying human, but like, it's like, I just like, it's like, and you're watching it happen. It is hell. The like table full of mobile orders at a Starbucks.
Yep.
I'm like, this is a hellscape to it is most, and this is where it's heterosexual. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
this is
Well, it's
100%.
just like this obsession with making everything more efficient, where you're like, you won't fucking die if you wait in a 3-person line to order your salad.
It's even more, I think people are even more like, no, I don't want to see anyone. Like,
Yes.
it's very much like,
Yeah.
I want my compound and I don't want to see a single fucking person. That being said, I want someone to prepare something for me, but I do not want to talk to someone about it.
And I think there's also like if I don't have to like if I don't have to like deal with the embarrassment of how particular I'm going to be, and I can just like write it out on an app.
Wait,
and
you
then
are
submit
so
it, and
right. Yes.
That's like and that's why it gets dark, is because then it's like, not only are you stuck in line behind these people doing these digital orders, the digital orders take forever because they're customized to the point where it's like, at this point, be like George and cook at home. What are you doing? Like,
You are so it is so true that we have gone from almost like it's looking down upon the person who makes 5 alterations to their order, and they're difficult, whatever, blah blah. And now that is just made invisible, so you can go freely without shame.
Yeah.
And make your burger into a salad.
The Starbucks especially, and I'm putting that in fast casual, like the way that people lean into the online order, like genuinely scares me and makes me feel like it's almost, I feel a micro version of when Trump was elected.
Yes.
I feel like, I don't understand people to a like high degree, because it's like also a Starbucks in a suburb, let's say, that's a queer space. That's all they have. Like there's a gay guy working always, and there's like stupid music being played, and people are ordering frappes, and it's like, this is a gay space. Thank you. But now they're trying to they're like, well, yeah, I like their drinks, but I'm not going to go inside. It's like, no, you have to be subjected to the gay guy that's working there. You have to.
Because you have to be subjected to the gay guy who's working, but then here's where it gets really dark. This is where it's like, actually, like I keep on saying this is where it gets late stage, but we're just moving later and later stage.
Yeah.
But it's like, these fast casual places are then also fostering a sense of community on their apps with like loyalty programs. So suddenly there's like rewards and there's levels and like it happening. Because like something I haven't brought up is that like when I was working, I used to be a lunch bartender. So it was like the closest I've ever had to like being like a 9-to-5 person, because I was working like midday hours in Manhattan. Granted, I was still bartending, but I was working 11 to 5, and I would go to Sweetgreen for lunch almost every day. And like, I got gold. I had Sweetgreen gold status, and that like meant something to me. Like and it's like this happens, and it's really big with the Starbucks thing, because then you get the points and stuff, and it's like and it makes you feel like you're part of this community where it's like you can design your own drink and like do this stuff, and it's like we are now turning to the apps of these places for community rather than actually experiencing community in humanity.
Jake, you said a sentence that chilled me to my bone, and I want to repeat it, which is that you said, these fast casual chains are now creating community on their apps through loyalty programs. That sentence has approximately 16 trigger words. It's actually like insane that it is 100% a true sentiment.
No, it's absolutely real. Absolutely real.
Wow. This is the Ouroboros sort of snake eating its own tail of again, not to be cliche, late stage capitalism, where, so fast casual dining exists. You think this is dystopia, but not only is it not dystopia, it is actually just the infrastructure upon which to build even more dystopian things. So fast casual restaurant is the setting. Then you have the app, you have the loyalty program, you have like the special pride menu, you have like, the iPads that replace the people. You then create an account so that you can be suddenly surveilled and sent to the Iraq War. It's like there is no end in sight.
Oh my God.
There's also no lines of like reality in terms of like, because then something starts to happen where like normal good restaurants are then being like turned into fast casual, because like it's like, hey, do you want to get like delivery at lunch from Carbone? And it's like, why would I ever? Like, people don't understand. It's so crazy. And like, do you understand that like certain food needs to be eaten hot? And if you pay for a man on a bike to go, first of all, then let's not even get into this because it's too complicated, down a sidewalk among pedestrians at 35 miles an hour.
Classic.
To bring you a spicy rigatoni that is now solid by the time you get to like, what is happening? Like, the way we think about like food and the delivery of it's so crazy. And like these businesses have broken our brains.
And then the way those businesses lean into that in their market, I mean, that is almost the final step. It's like, okay, so we all feel sort of ashamed and not we all, because I think I think the three of us obviously are extremely elevated and have never made a mistake in our lives, but
no, not once.
It's
Sam
like,
almost did, but I called it.
It's
I'm looking forward to it.
You're using Seamless and you're like, oh, I know this is bad, but I have no food in my apartment, so I'm gonna do it, whatever. Then the ad will be like, feeling useless, just leave it to us. Like it's sort of like encouraging this sort of like half shameful, like have a treat.
And this also brings it back to the thing that you were saying about like wanting to like talk to the CEO, because it's very like the marketing team is speaking for the workers.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't think they said that. I don't think like the people making the burrito that's being delivered to me said like, I got you, babe. Like you told us, the higher ups said like, we got you, babe. And then they are the ones that have to do it all. Like, this is insane.
I mean, it is the epitome of alienation. Like, when you think about literally like a marketing firm full of like depressed, like wannabe writers who have landed there, either depressed wannabe writers or even worse, satisfied people who actually wanted to work in marketing. Like work at a firm, Seamless goes to them. They're like, listen, we want to basically condescend to everyone while also devaluing our workers. Can you make that fun? And also it's a pride campaign. Yes. And then the people at the marketing firm are like, you got it, doll. And then they are like joking with each other. And they're like, isn't it crazy that we like work for an evil company? LOL. Like, oh, yep, LOL. And then they like write something that's almost like intentionally bad to make themselves laugh. Then Seamless is like, oh my God, we love it. This will go great with Gen Z. And then it's like on the subway.
I'm
like feeling ill.
I'm nauseous.
Because then it also, and this is like, if you're nauseous now, if you're already nauseous, buckle up. Because it's like, then I start to spiral out to fully existential, where I'm like, okay, so wait, like, so what is living? Because if we're like saying that like, oh, we don't want to have to like wait in the line at the grocery store, pick up your own laundry, cook your own food, like go pick up your own food. Like, what are you meant to do with the time that you have on this earth? Like, am I supposed to sit on the couch and just like have everything? Like, it's like at some point, like going to the grocery store is living. Like going to your like that is life. Like that is what our life is comprised of. That is how it exists. Like you have like 70, 80, 90 years ideally between like when you're born and you die, where you do these activities. Like if you are like paying other people to do them, like actually what are you doing with your time? Like what is your existence? Like what is like, it is all operating from this idea that there's this baseline of there's something else we want to be doing. And it's like, can you concretely tell me what the other thing is?
I can. Gaming.
Shut the fuck
up. No, you are. That is so true, Jake. And it's almost like that is the rotten core at the center of it. It's like we're all like searching for that other thing. We're like, surely we're making all these we're doing all this stuff to make everything more efficient in order to do the thing. And then we're like getting closer to the thing, getting closer to the thing, getting closer to the thing. But then the thing keeps going farther and farther and farther away from us. And it's like, I guess that's life.
It's like efficiency is like this false. It's like efficiency is this false. What is like the word I'm trying to look like? False.
Promise.
False. Sort of like false like ideal, where it's like okay, like another example would be like Grindr and Scruff, right? Where it's like it makes it more efficient to like get laid, and then if you use it enough, like something that you realize is like, wait, the fun part is the pursuit, and this is eliminating the fun part. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the fun part is like the fun part is like making eye contact with someone at the bar and being like, are we gonna fuck later? And like you're like, oh, like what is the efficiency in pursuit of? Because like I am eliminating the parts of it that are enjoyable. Like, and that's like ultimately it's like it's applicable to all of it. Yeah. Should we go full analog? Like
no, I mean, listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Honestly, yeah.
I have been yeah, I mean, you also are sort of catching me at an existential state today because of the day I've had, but I'm sort of like, I mean, because not to bring it back to digital media, but like that also ties in where it's sort of like, okay, everyone here is trying to put something out into the world. Then we are hearing like feedback from the people that work in sales and marketing, feedback that's algorithmic from Google Trends, like feedback from random like bots tweeting. And you're like, what is even left? I have no idea even. I have completely lost touch with like what any of my goals are in terms of what I want to put out into the world, and of what any actual coherent reaction is to the things that I do put out, because it is impossible to sort of like evaluate it in any normal way, because you just get like this cacophony of random people yelling at you. So essentially, I guess, see you in the Rocky Mountains.
It's
I mean, it's complicated. I think the worst part is that you are punished for for not going along with it. Like when it comes to like Jake, what you were saying about like you will literally be waiting in line and they will be fulfilling online orders, or like you will be getting points and people will like get a free meal and you won't. Like there's been a lot of my life where I'm like, no, I'm just going to do it the normal way. Like I should be able to walk into a store and buy something. And it's like, you are always punished. Like you're punished for like wanting to be patient with like something you put out. You're punished for like being like private. And it's like, this is so frustrating because I feel like personally, like, I'm not trying to be difficult, and it's like, but I have to, it becomes difficult because you're being punished.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say like privacy, because it's like, it doesn't even have to be about privacy. It's like, I just don't fucking feel like doing that. Like it was
right.
Walking into the store and doing it was fine. Like it truly was fine. The idea of going up to an iPad and making an account would actually be like,
it really, yeah, it was one of those moments that where truly my life flashed before my eyes. It's what you're saying, Sam, of like realizing it quite literally is alienation. You feel alienated from your fellow man. You feel alienated from like the food you are about to consume. You feel alienated from yourself. I mean, it is hell.
Well, what scares me about it is, okay, if this gets too dark, like cut it out. But it's like, because I always think that like things are cyclical and are going to swing back. But like the other thing I think we're experiencing is that as we are getting older, it's like the people who are younger than us, like their baseline is higher. So they already have a higher tolerance because like their baseline is like, yeah, when you like, their baseline is like, yeah, you give your email the second you walk into the store. Or like, that's not where it's at, but it's like, it's getting there. And then it's going to be like I always think about like, my grandfather retired because like they overhauled the computer system in the company he worked for, and they were just like, hey, we're going to give you a better retirement package because you can't learn this. Like you're out. And like that happened in like the 90s. Like he was a medical salesman. He sold like I think he sold like Viagra. Like but they at some point they like updated the system so it wasn't like you kept things analog on paper anymore. You had to like do it digitally, and he just like retired. And it's like, I feel like there's like it's just like, does it keep heightening, or is it some point, or is the alienation you're talking about going to get so intense that everyone's going to be like, we have to get off these phones? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's tough because then you're sort of like, I mean, with the technology of it all, you're like, well, maybe at some point all the friction will be gone completely, and all you have to do is like think something and it will happen.
Well, that's scary.
Or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. That's scary.
Or everything will be Siri, basically. Like the creating an account on an iPad is clearly a temporary stopgap, because what they actually want
there's
is
like no way.
What they actually want is for you to be able to literally think, I want to kill Caesar, and for that to appear in front of you. Like the iPad is a temporary stopgap that'll be useful for approximately a year and a half.
I thought you said, I want to kill Caesar, and I was like, where did you go with this? I got so confused.
But you know what? For now, Chipotle is absolutely delicious.
Hey,
Chipotle is delicious.
They did such a great job.
They do such a good job. But my plans after this is I'm going to my friend's house to have dinner at a table with like actual friends. And after this conversation, I'm very thankful for that.
No, I really, yeah, it's, God, the work lunch is really something I don't miss about going into an office every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, okay, I'll say this, like, yes, it's alienating, but when you don't do the technological thing, and at least you are in line with fellow people, and you're like, I used to work somewhere where, there were various offices around there. So you would see some people in suits, and you're like, oh, they work in business or in finance. You'd see some people like in scrubs, and you're like, oh, they work at the hospital, like whatever. And at least you feel part of the city, like at least there's, at least it's like being on the subway where you're like, yes, this is hell in a sense, but I feel like I am in New York.
Mm-hmm. You're like in it.
And it's
100%.
Like truly the bare minimum. It is the bare minimum of like, after a day at your fucking computer, just feeling at least embodied. like I am in a human body.
Yes.
And if you are ordering your salad online, you don't even get that.
That's like the thing. Because if it was just like you go, if fast casual dining was still just like you go and you order with all the other people, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. Like I bet it was fun like back like when Shake Shack like blew up like 15 years ago and everyone was in the Shake Shack line in Madison Square Park. I bet that was a party. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally Tiesto was DJing. Everyone was like, woo!
Yeah, it
like,
was huge.
People doing coke in the Shake Shack line.
Shake Shack.
The app thing, I was coming back from like out of the country, and there was a really long line to go through like customs to get back into America, and they were like, it was really complicated and confusing. And then they were like, but if you have the app, you can go into that line. And that line was like 2 people long. Like the other line was literally over an hour wait. And this one, and it was like, you mean I can just and I just downloaded it and then got to like cut the whole line. And I was like, this is so fucked up. Like this is supposed to be like a government thing. And even this is being like fast casualized. And it's like, just make your normal lines better. Why do like you're just adding a middleman for no reason? Are you getting like a cut? What is going on? It was insane. And this is for like the US passport. There's like a US passport app.
That's actually crazy because it's like, you have my information.
You have
You're
it.
the government.
You have it.
Like,
and
what are
I have
you
my
getting
passport
from
in my
this?
hand. Like just scan it and let's go. It was fucking crazy.
It's like going to like vote and then being like, scan this QR code.
I know. It's so
what?
weird. I like it pissed me off so much. I was so mad. Because also there was all these people that like didn't, it was just like, oh, you're like making this so like rich people can skip the line. Like why?
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
Fucked up. The last time I went through the US border at JFK, like this back when I was coming back from Edinburgh, I like walked from the gate like 2 departures, and then when I got to the desk, I didn't show the man anything. He said, "Hi Jacob," and I said, "You know my name?" And then he read all my information to me off the computer screen and then said, "You're good to go." He never took my passport. Like at some point I had been scanned.
I've never
I truly was like, what? And he was like laughing at me. Like he was getting a kick out of the fact that I like, didn't know how it worked, but like he did not my passport stayed in my hand the entire time. It was actually the scariest thing I've ever encountered.
I don't like that one bit. I don't like that one bit.
I don't know how he did it.
Well, I'll really freak out when they do it at Chipotle.
Have you guys read Super Sad True Love Story by Gary Steinhardt?
No.
Okay. Homework for everyone listening out there. I feel like it came out in like 2010 or 11 or 12 or something. It truly like predicts the rise of kind of online influencers. And there's like a class of people that they, I think, call media people. And it's like, he's gone media. Like he's become like someone who is only like, interacts with the world through media. I don't remember the details, but let me tell you something. Community, that's where we're heading.
Damn.
Wow. I hate when books predict the future.
I know, it's so sad.
It's crazy.
That's why it's better to just not write them.
Yeah, don't write them, and honey, don't read them. Build your own future.
We should burn books. They've never written them.
That's a good idea.
What if that's the conclusion we came to after this like screed on the ills of late stage capitalism? We're like, well, this all happened because of the original technology, the printing press. Sam is like, not no.
There's something to it.
Not no. The Bible.
Yeah.
Listen, do I think there should be higher standards for what gets to be put through the printing press? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Jake, I have to say, this has been a sort of mind-blowing episode.
I'm like, this has been cathartic because it makes me feel elderly. I feel like the world has changed under my feet, and I haven't really grasped that fact yet. I haven't like really thought about that, but it is true.
Yeah. And from my perspective, I just want to say that the fact that like I could sort of take out my rage at being fired by, sort of a literal billionaire today on fast casual restaurants and just map my experience onto Dig In and Sweetgreen was very cathartic. Sort of the distance I needed to process and more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the Catholic God brought us together today for this.
I really agree. And I'm excited for the three of us to be nailed to those three crosses together after this episode comes out.
Wow. Well, should we do our final segment?
I think we must. Jake, our final segment is called Shoutouts. And in this segment, we pay tribute to the classic straight art form of the radio shoutout. Think TRL, think Z100. We are shouting out something that is making us go, yas. And Sam, you know what? I have one that I can do.
Oh, please go for it.
What's up, listeners? I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Orna Goralnik, who is the therapist at the center of the television series Couples Therapy, which people have been recommending to me at this point for 4 years. It's on Showtime, but you can get it through Amazon, which I don't support, by the way, so shut up. And I want to say, this woman, when I tell you she is mother, she is literally my Virgin Mary. I pray to her and would literally pay upwards of $100,000 just to have a single therapy session with her. She is doing God's work. I first thought it was exploitative that she was putting these couples on TV airing out their dirty laundry, but I actually now think it is a public service. I am so inspired by her. I think no one has ever been better at their job. I think she also just looks incredible, and I don't think that's necessary for being a good therapist, but I certainly don't think it hurts. And I also want to say, at first when I was watching that show, I was like, all these men are gaslighters. And I do, to some extent, still think that. But she's so good at what she does that she has made me empathize with every single person, even the gaslighters and the losers. And that is being a true, you know what? By talking to people, by doing the slow work of understanding one another, she is the opposite of a fast casual restaurant. And we have to all watch Couples Therapy in order to break the shackles of late stage capitalism.
Woo! Woo!
Wow.
Okay, I love that.
Have either of you seen this show?
No, but I've seen clips.
But I love television.
You literally it is mind-blowing.
Okay, I'm curious.
It's literally just filmed therapy sessions with real life couples, but it is done in a sort of documentary style. It's not like trash reality TV.
Can I ask a weird question? Can I ask a question? The couples, is there sort of a general theme of these couples are the sort of people that would are off in a way that would allow them to consent to do this? Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense. I have to say I should do more research on how they cast it and stuff, but they really don't seem
they seem like normies.
That I wouldn't say they seem like normies. They obviously have issues and they're talking about them and whatever, but they don't seem like the kinds of people desperate to be on TV. They don't seem like the kinds of people that would apply to be on the real world. They are also from all walks of life. There are low income people and rich people and gay couples and straight couples and interracial couples and couples of all different ethnic backgrounds. It feels sort of like a miracle that she somehow found this group of people.
Yeah.
And even though when you obviously zoom out, you're like, this is crazy that this is happening. While you're watching it, you're not thinking that. You're just riveted by what's happening on screen.
That's hugely enticing to me because I think I just assumed it would be baseline. Everyone's taking UCB 201.
No,
I thought that would be.
Yeah, I would assume that as well. But I'm glad to hear it's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one. What's up, everybody around the world? Woo! I would like to give a huge shout out to workouts that require gear. I am getting into gear. Let's just say when I'm started swimming at the Y again, and I absolutely love the fact that I have to wear a cap and a goggle, and sometimes I'm like, should I get a new Speedo? Why not? It's gear, and it makes me feel like working out is not a chore, but actually a luxury that I am allowed and allowing myself to have. I always scoffed at workout gear, and I was always like when I would go for runs or go to the gym, I would be in ratty shirts and shorts and sort of be like, this is me, I'm just a real guy. And now I'm kind of like, no, I want to get something fancy. And I want to feel like what I'm doing is with purpose and with care. And gear is also a swim cap. You think you're going to feel stupid, but I'm actually glad they make me wear it in the pool. And they don't just make me wear it, they make everybody wear it. So keep your little jokes to yourself. Yeah, they make me wear a swim cap and everyone also. And I think it's fun because it makes me feel like, okay, this isn't normal swimming. I'm working out. And so that is powerful, and it's fun to look stupid sometimes. And that is a beautiful lesson that I learn a few times a week. XOXO, Sam.
Woo! Woo!
Wow.
And we should say, speaking of swimming, shout out to Philly G, who messaged us and does open water swimming in the Bay Area, and a group of listeners of the pod called their team the Girlinas and made custom swim caps that are pink and say the Girlinas slaying
That's
since
incredible.
2021. Literally,
Pretty cool.
almost made me cry when we got that DM.
Wow.
So
My turn?
Jake,
Yeah,
take it
whenever you're
away.
ready.
What is up, everyone, from the East Coast to the West Coast? I want to give a shout out to flossing.
Yes.
Flossing has become my biggest obsession. I do it every single night. I do not miss. And oftentimes I forget to wash my face, or don't forget but decide I don't want to do it. But I always floss, because something I found out in my early 20s is that flossing is not about cleaning between your teeth. It is cleaning what? Below your gums. And that's disgusting. And they don't tell you about that when you're a kid, but it's actually about cleaning the stuff that's stuck under your gums, where bacteria is growing and food is rotting. And it's the #1 cause of bad breath. And when I floss, I feel like I'm never going to die. So no matter what else I do that is bad for me, flossing keeps me healthy. It is the reason I will live as long as that man who drank 3 martinis at lunch that I talked about earlier. Flossing is the reason I am infallible and perfect, and I love myself because I floss.
Woo! Beautiful. Wow, what a delight.
For 2023, out flopping, in flossing.
Yes.
Yes. I'm in my floss era.
Yeah, I floss in
Wow.
waves. I need to start flossing again. Maybe I'll start tonight. Could be huge.
Yeah, now that I'm unemployed, I'm gonna really commit to flossing. Well, I'll say this, Jake, it's been an honor, a privilege, a joy, and a pleasure. And for everyone out there listening, Sam and I are available for hire.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually
A
are.
few months ago, Sam was a high-power TV writer and I was a high-power editor. And now we are both high-power podcasters.
I love it. I think it's so powerful to feel on top of the world and then like moments later, bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
I think it's so powerful.
Wait, but then we should say, we've been telling ourselves we're going to say this at the end of every episode, and actually maybe we'll do a pre-recorded thing. But for now, I just want to say, honey, subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/StraightioLab.
Oh, and while we're plugging, come to Club Comic on February
Club
17th.
And Jake Dahl, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yes, come to my Union Hall show, Gorge Night, on February 17th, and my solo show at Club Coming, not confusingly similarly named to Sam's show, but Club Coming on February 22nd.
I would like to erase Jake's first plug. You can't plug something on the same night as my show.
Wait, is it on? Oh my God! Wait, stop!
Oh God!
What time's your show?
7:30.
Okay, never mind. Come to my solo show on February 22nd.
And I'm hosting a sort of pop-up smoothie night on that same date at the same time. And it's at the new Bean that they just made in New York.
Oh, I love that there's a New York Bean now. Oh,
The New York Bean feels very StraightioLab, don't you think?
we have to go.
Is that real?
Yes, they made a New York Bean.
They said Chicago. We're gonna take away the big photo op, and they said, you think you can have something on
Where
us?
is
Wrong.
it?
The New York Bean is so iconic. I love it so much.
No, it's instantly
I don't even know.
iconic.
Is it like around Wall Street?
I'm gonna guess
actually
Wall
don't
Street.
even know. Okay.
Wait, the New York Bean is actually so funny that it's like, what is New York's new culture? And it's stealing. Like, just like appropriation and stealing.
You have to.
All right. Well, we're going to do a big outdoor show by the New York Bean, and I'll see everyone there.
And that's going to be on February 17th.
17th at
7 p.m.
7:30. Yeah.
7:30.
All right.
Okay.
Peace out.
Peace out. Love.
Bye.
Bye.